We're doing 15 minutes glutes and back. You're gonna need dumbbells. I'm using up to 25 pounds, a bench, and I can talk about an option if you don't have a bench, and a mat and 2 mini bands. I'm setting my timer for 15 minutes. And then this workout is gonna really concentrate on technique. So you're hitting the correct muscle fibers so you can actually build muscle efficiently. That is important. If you notice, we're not going to bounce in and out of our reps. We're pausing at the bottom end of the movement and at the top end of the movement to really drive that intensity up. So we're going to do some glute bridges first. Put the mini band around the top and below your knee. We're going to place our feet about hip width apart. You're going to lock in your core so that lowest rib draws down towards your pelvis. And you're just going to squeeze your glutes to bring it up to a straight line between your shoulders, hips, and knees. You're going to lock out at the top. Do not overextend the spine. So you're just going to get a neutral spine at the top. And you're going to squeeze your cheeks and hold it for a second at the top. What I want you to do is anywhere between 10 and 20 reps. When you feel a strong burn, you should feel maybe like a trembling. You're going to crank out at least 3 to 5 more high quality reps. You can tell when you're at this point, it's called close to failure, because your rep is starting to slow down. You're starting to shake and you feel like you really can't crank out much more with good form. Remember to keep your core locked down. So that means belly button in, your lowest rib draws down towards the pelvis. We're going to take about a minute break or longer if you need to. In this session, what we're doing is we're avoiding cardio. So we're going to head into each of our sets pretty rested so that you can have a good quality, intense set. So in between, what I like to do is some hip mobility. This one we're doing inward rotation of the hips. One side's probably going to feel more mobile than the other. That's normal. Just take note of it. And chest openers are very important since we tend to be on our devices all day and we get that text neck, that hunched over. So you really want to open up the chest. And gang, what we're going to do here is stay off our phone. You're going to give your body the gift of movement, of strength training, and we're going to stay off social media and our phone for this 15 minutes as a reminder to our body that we are stressing it with a good stressor, which is exercise, and not necessarily with scrolling. So I'm heading into my second set here. Just get a comfortable foot placement, hip width apart. Your toes can point slightly out, but I mostly want them forward. Don't forget to squeeze your cheeks at the top. Pause for a second at the top. Really squeeze those glutes at the top. And on your way down, you want to come down slowly. Just tap down at the bottom, squeeze and hold at the top. Don't forget to lock down that core, which means that lowest rib draws down towards the pelvis. And again, you're going to do 10 to 20 reps. When you feel that strong burn and that tremble, I want you to kick out about 3 to 5 more reps with good form. It should feel like struggling. It should feel like your brain is telling you to stop and you're telling your brain, I'm in control. I'm going to do at least 3 more reps. That's the kind of stimulation we want. That's the signal we want to send to the muscle to tell it can grow. So I'm going to rest another minute. What I want you to do if you have 5 extra minutes is press pause here and do a third set of glute bridges. In this video, we only have time to do 2 sets, which is better than nothing. But ideally, I would want you to press pause here and take a few minutes to do a third set of glute bridges. During your rest, it's good to work on mobility and stretching. So a little bit more inward hip rotation. Just really concentrate on your breath, pulling your shoulders down away from your ears so you're not shrugging. We're signaling to our nervous system, gang, that we are stressing it purposefully with a good stress. Exercise is a good stress. And what we want to do after we exercise, after we've allowed our cortisol to come up, we're going to remind our nervous system that our cortisol and our nervous system can come back down to baseline, come back down to safety. Again, so you're opening up the chest. What I'd also recommend once you get used to this workout is you can sort of ignore my cues and put on your favorite playlist. You want to attach your workout to a reward. And a lot of times that means your favorite music or your favorite outfit. You want the brain to associate exercise with a positive reinforcement. So now we're going to move on to chest supported rows. You're going to grab your dumbbells. Choose a heavy enough weight where you can do 10 to 20 reps close to failure. If you can do 20 reps easily, it's time to go up in weight. I'm going to show you from the front first, and then I'll show you from the side. I'm using, well, these are power blocks. I love them. You can adjust anywhere from 3 to 24 pounds. I'm using 24 pounds. So you're going to straddle the bench like this, putting the weights on the top of the bench, straddle the bench. Your option is to either sort of stand up or you can sit down. I like to stand up because I like to be as close to the top of the bench as possible. And even here, gang, you're going to lock down that core, meaning you are bringing your pelvis and tilting it towards the bench, bringing your lower ribs down towards your pelvis just to support the spine even more. You're going to get a nice stretch at the bottom. So get that scapular retraction, meaning you're letting the weights kind of pull your shoulder a little bit downwards, get a nice stretch in the lats. And at the top, what you're wanting to do is pull, imagine a string pulling your elbows back. You're squeezing your shoulder blades together and you're pulling the weight towards your hips. I want you to pause for at least half a second at the top and squeeze. So unlike some of our other workouts where we're mindlessly bouncing in and out of our reps and we're calling it weightlifting, that is not that here. I want you to pay attention to the muscle that you are working. I want you to pause and squeeze at the top. You're gonna make that intensity exponentially harder when you're doing it that way and you're not bouncing in and out of your reps. So again, we're gonna rest for about a minute. I like to stretch out my quads, do a little bit more hip openers. This time we're gonna do hip openers. So when you're doing your quad stretch, what you want to do is squeeze your glutes, bring your pelvis forward. You should feel a nice stretch from your hips all the way down through your knee. And just take a moment to work on your balance here. Make sure your shoulders are pulled down away from your ears. Don't forget your expansive breaths. So chest and belly rises, your shoulders should not rise. Again, on the other side, you're squeezing your glutes. So you get a nice stretch down the front of your hips, all the way down through your knee. Pull your shoulders down away from your ears. And then here's what it looks like from the side. And what you also want to pay attention to is when you're putting your weights down on the ground and you're picking them up, I want you to use good form. So brace yourself. And instead of bending over, what you want to do is sort of squat down, bend your knees, and then pick the weight up. And if your second set, you needed to go heavier or lighter, it's a good time to adjust. So again, rounding that pelvis, tilting it so that your pelvis is sort of tilting into the bench so you support your core. Shoulders pulled down away from your ears. Your gaze should be neutral. So you're not looking down, you're not looking up. So your ears are lined up with your shoulders. You're pulling from your elbows towards the back of the room, really squeezing and pausing at the top, and pause at the bottom for half a second to get a really nice lat stretch. 10 to 20 reps. When you feel that strong burn and that tremble, I want you to crank out at least 3 to 5 more reps with good form. You should be feeling it in your face and in that tremble. And you can tell I'm slowing down here. It's feeling really hard. I think I might have gone beyond 20. But at that point, gang, if you're going beyond 20, you're gonna need to increase your weights anywhere from 2.5 to 5 pounds heavier for upper body. All right, so that was our second set. If you have, like I said, that extra 5 minutes, I want you to press pause here and do a third set. It's only gonna take about 2 or 3 more minutes to do your third set. We're doing some hip openers, so you're just gonna grab below your knee, work on your balance, brace yourself with your other hand if you need to. Keep your core locked down, really pull that knee open. You really want to get that hip moving. It's a ball and socket joint, so you want to be able to move it out, in, up, down, and even in a circle. We have a couple of extra minutes, so we're going to work on some core now. We're going to do a bird dog. This is for spinal health, neuromuscular coordination, and to strengthen your core. We're really working on technique here, gang. Technique is going to be the one thing that keeps you safe and that stimulates the muscle fibers correctly so you can actually make them, number one, grow, and number two, get functionally stronger. So what I want here is your hands stacked under your elbows, under your shoulders, knees stacked under your hips. You're starting at a tabletop position, and the opposite arm and the opposite leg are extending. And what I want is for you to extend and hold for at least 1 to 2 seconds at the top. What we're doing at the top is imagining a string pulling our fingertips and pulling our toes in the opposite direction. You're really gonna lengthen out the spine, keeping that core really locked down so that lowest rib is still drawing down towards the pelvis. You're really supporting your spine here. Squeezing your glutes at the top to get that leg, that extended leg, in line with your hips. We're gonna do about 10. And if this is hard for you, I don't want you to worry about it. It's just a baseline. You're gonna practice it and improve. If you only can do 5, that's perfect. This is something that you can do at night when you're tired and you're sitting there watching TV. Again, for your neck, I want you to keep a neutral neck, meaning your gaze is gonna be a little bit beyond where your fingertips are placed. So making sure to support the neck that way with where your gaze, where your eyes are locked. And it's just about 15. Oh, actually we have a little bit of extra time, guys. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna work some power into this. We're getting a lot of bang for our buck. Don't forget to drink water throughout your workout and all day long. Hydrate, especially in the first half of the day. We're gonna work on some power here. We're gonna keep it safe. So we're gonna warm up with some pogo hops, warm up the ankles. Take some mini hops, about 10 to 15 on each side. And then we're gonna do some squat jumps. I want you to go low and slow here, gang, because the name is safety. So we're just gonna bend your knees, get your butt down, and you're just gonna power up. Power is important to train. We wanna hit those fast twitch muscle fibers. Power is the first thing to go as we age, and we need it for balance, coordination. We need it if we slip and fall so we can catch ourselves. We also need it because it tends to activate that cellular system that makes fat burning and insulin more efficient. And we're at 15 minutes here, gang. We did about 10 to 15 jumps. Again, the jumps, when you feel that burn, you're gonna do about 3 more. You're gonna place your hand over your heart, line up your ears over your shoulders, pull your chin back, lower your shoulders, take an expansive breath. Tell your body, thank you. I stressed you. You can come back to baseline now. Give yourself a hug and give yourself a high five. Cheers.